Ah, namaste. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be across the planet, around the world. Welcome to Zentasia, even though it says N5D back here. Welcome to Zentasia's inaugural video. So this is it. We're doing a spirit chat every Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific, and 12 midnight in the UK. And each week, what I'll do is I'll pick a topic for us to talk about, and I'll give my little insight on it initially, and then I bring everybody in, and I want to hear from you guys because everyone has an amazing story to tell, and I would love to hear your stories as well. So yeah, tonight is that. I also have a video coming out. Uh, it's uploading right now, and it's called 10 Signs You're Accessing Hidden Dimensions. And that's going to premiere tonight at 9 o'clock. So I'm going to try to keep the spirit chats to around an hour. It could go a little over, but right about an hour long every night, every Wednesday night. So I'm going to keep it to that. I also have a video that I'm working on for a future video on Zentasia, and it's called the Top 10 Hippie Slang Words from the 1960s that are still said today. You could probably guess a few of them, but it's pretty interesting to see how long these words have been going on throughout our vernacular for so many years, going on 60 years, I guess, right? Well, if you look at the Summer of Love being 67, so 60 years would be in 2027. So let's start it off because we only got like an hour, and I'll lead things off real quick and then I'll bring everybody in. I don't want to take up much time for myself. I want you guys to come in and be the stars of the show. But what led to my spiritual awakening, I kind of knew at a young age that when my parents took me to church, I would get the EBGBs walking into the church. It just didn't feel right. Something was off. And I almost got kicked out of church several times for interrupting Sunday school. And because I was asking too many questions, it just wasn't adding up, even as a young child. So, flash forward probably about 10, 11, 12 years old or so. I saw this ad in the back. I think it was a Boy's Life magazine. And it was for on this book on how to do, how to do all these different things. One of the things that was a metaphysical book. And one of the things that it was um, advertising was how to have out of body experiences. And I thought, wow, that would be cool. So I saved my money up and I stuck it $4 cash inside an envelope and mailed it out. It was the summertime and my parents were at work. So I'd go out to the mailbox and always check for the mail and make sure that nobody else knew I had ordered that book. And eventually I did get it, believe it or not. Somebody honest on the other end that received the $4 sent me the book. And ironically, I never was able to have an out of body experience at that age. Flash forward to 2011, I on this particular day, I said, "This is it. I'm going to have that out of body experience today." And I lay down and I get all relaxed. I feel my body starting to lift out, and my cell phone rang. And I thought, well, that's a sign. I'm not supposed to be doing this. And I never tried again. But yeah, so church, EBGB's in church, getting kicked out, Sunday school, uh, almost getting kicked out of Sunday school, the metaphysical book, and then flash forward, a lot of the things that, woke many people up, and we have to tiptoe around this stuff because we can't say the word nine with a certain word after it, but that certain number after that. But that was another thing. But also The Secret, the video, The Secret. So one day I went over to my ex-wife's house to pick up my daughter, and she wasn't ready yet. So my ex said, "Have you ever seen this the trailer to The Secret?" I said, "No." She goes, well, check it out. Well, Brittany's getting ready. So I did. And I was so impressed with that video that I ended up, by the time Brittany and I got back home, I ordered it immediately. And I got it a few days later, and it changed my life, as it has for many of you. So, yeah, The Secret was huge in my awakening. And with that said, we've got some people I'm going to bring in. Welcome to Zentasia Spirit Chat, my friends. Come on in. The water's fine. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Zentasia Spirit Chat. There's Vera, my first subscriber. And hi, Mel. Melissa's joining us. My love, Allie and Jeremiah. How are you all? You're all muted, by the way.
Good. And yes, 137, Greg.
How about that? You know, and that's one of the reasons why, folks, if you didn't know, I started Zentasia because YouTube was screwing my N5D channel badly. So I figured, screw it, I'll give this a shot. And this has happened to many of us anyway. So, you know, welcome to Zentasia. I'm still going to be putting out products and videos on N5D, but I'm also going to be working hard on Zentasia.
And just tip, have one or two in your backpack. When they start to fuck again, you have...
Right? Inevitably, right?
Yeah.
And it frustrates me because I see people with rudimentary videos that have significantly fewer subscribers and are getting significantly more views. I'm like, how the hell's that happening? But I think we know how and why. Okay, and one thing I do have to say here, it is YouTube, so, and this is what led to your awakening. So when it comes to certain words like the 9 and whatever that happened in 2001, we can't say that word. So just tippy toe around it and figure out a way to say something otherwise, and watch out for any of those keywords. Try to keep it as spiritual as possible.
I'll just call it them and back then.
Somebody had a great question or a comment last night when Allie and I were doing our live and uncensored Rumble. It might have been you, Allie, that said that. What's another word that we could call the elites?
I think you called them
Dropout.
That's too tame.
I called them F-tards.
F-tards. You did.
Oh, hey.
That's still too tame. Hi, Jeremiah, Melissa, Vera. Hello.
Hi. Maybe.
Scum.
Scum buckets.
I heard wankers.
Well, I was thinking British of one, but I don't think they like it. Buttholes.
You sure it wasn't bloody wankers?
That would work.
Buttholes. Well, something, I think it should be something with rats in it, because the rats are leaving the ship. So it's something about rats.
Critters. Critters. That can be animals. Lazy critters. It can be an animal.
They're worse than animals, aren't they?
I know.
Worse than animals.
But it's just a name, Ellie.
I know. Yeah. I don't know. We'll have to think of a word.
Americans will think of critters as something that Jed Clampett would say on the Beverly Hillbillies.
Yeah.
Or his daughter Ellie Mae.
Yeah.
Yes.
Critters.
Well, I don't know, but I'm laughing about the password because when I'm typing it in, it dawned on me. I'm like, wait a minute, 8675. I'm like, okay, I get it now.
Something easy to remember, right?
I don't get it.
You don't?
You never heard that song?
Hey? Huh?
Hey Jenny, who can I turn
Call me
to?
two-tone?
Yeah.
675-309. You don't know that song? You have to know that song. Were they British? Were they a British band or
I
American
don't think
band?
so.
Oh no.
8675309.
Either you know or you know. That's it.
Yeah. I can't believe you haven't heard that. Maybe it wasn't popular at all in Britain. I don't know.
If you
I'll
know
send you a link
it.
to that.
Well, Ellie, she's a youngin', so.
That's
What about
true.
you, Vera? Did you know it?
No,
Oh,
Okay, it's an
Lisa
American
must
thing.
have though.
So they're like
Lisa, she
eight,
had to have.
six,
I
You
did.
seven,
know, you
five.
did.
Yeah, I didn't recognize it right away. Yeah,
I've
Good.
used it. I've used it before on Spirit Chat.
great. Yeah.
Funny.
Yeah, on the N5B Spirit Chat.
I was laughing.
Yeah. This is great. I'm definitely going to bring it back every Wednesday night, 7 p.m. I'm going to try to keep it to an hour long because I know we've in the past we've had like 3-4 hour Spirit Chats. That's too long. let's
even
let's keep it
even
to about.
longer. I think you had a one that went on 5 hours.
It wouldn't surprise me. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
It it,
That's
it
not going to happen
started
again.
it started at 2 and it became light when I stepped out. And that was around 8:30, 8,
So
8,
that must have been
8:30.
that must have been 9 o'clock my time.
Yeah,
Yeah, 9
probably.
p.m. Eastern. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Today's topic is what led to your spiritual awakening. And I would like to let Vera lead. Well, it depends on what camera.
Well,
I know they,
I have no problems when you ask me the questions, but give me a time to work my energy in the energy of the question. Otherwise, I'm blocked.
well, I figured because you were my first subscriber, I'd give you the first opportunity to answer the question.
Thank you.
But you want to
And I
wait?
was already thinking about it.
You can wait. It's no biggie.
No, it's okay.
Okay, then give us your answer. Bring it
Well,
on.
for me, big
Yes.
awakenings, I think I've had many. I've always been aware my whole life, as long as I can remember. When things changed, I thought, yep, that's all setting up for a wrong road. Let me call it that way. And the fact, and I'm going to say it bluntly, that I found out my ex was putting stuff in my food, basically to kill me. I really found out how aware and awake I was because something didn't add up. And when he was away for a couple of days, just imagine, normally when you walk your dogs, for you an hour, hour and a half is no problem at all, walking. When he was home, I could barely squeeze out 15-minute walk. He was out of the picture for a week, but in 2 days, from only a 15, heavily breathing, exhausted, to in 2 days, I could walk 2-3 hours without getting out of breath. And that's when it started to, because when someone is after your life, you can have a lot of things that wake you up big time. And a lot of other things, oh my God, that I've been walking. And I'm sorry, guys, it is what it is. I have no problem with it. That I was walking in area where I started to live because I wanted to be away from him. I all of a sudden see a red dot right here pointing at my heart. Trying to, some wanted me to go with them hunting. Tastes good, a bunny on the barbecue. I didn't go because all the alert went off. And I did get my biggest awakening lessons right there. I could literally feel a dark blanket roll into the town I lived in. Of course, when mayhem happened and I called the police, I felt the good guys roll in. Mind me, sitting at home. Everything, all the windows are closed. I cannot see outside. So if I peeked through the curtains, I could see the police drive through. And then it was quiet for a couple of weeks, 3 weeks, and you saw the little signs. And I knew it was building up. And that's when I really started to, for me, knowing what was coming, I thought, and starting to get really interested in, I've always been interested in the spiritual world. If anything, any movie or even on the radio was talking about it, I was like listening or watching, and I couldn't get myself away from it. But in that area, in that period of 4.5 years, after I moved out because of my safety, that's when I thought, wait a minute. I have no idea what kind of powerhouse I am. But if I literally just a tiny smell of a cigarette or a match that was not lit in my house, I could smell it. And then fireworks went off right in close to my backyard. So that's when I found out there's a whole lot of more. And then I jumped on the spirit chat of you, Greg. And I said, give me time to get into a question, because then I was like, let me feel into it. I'm here, I'm listening, I need to get to, and all of a sudden in the mic, and Vera, what led to your awakening? Well, that woke me up, I can tell you.
You were quiet initially on the N5D version of Spirit Chat. It took you a while to warm up.
I
What year
was
did this? What year
scared
did this
shit to
begin?
talk. I was
Mhm.
literally scared to talk in a group.
What year did this begin for you? That you're
That
awakening. I don't remember you saying this particular year.
many, many occasions throughout the year, but when when I found out, it was the end of 2014, 2015 that I found out. And
Okay.
I cannot say I had a literally one moment of awakening. I have always been awake, not knowing I was awake.
Yeah.
Anything. I see literally things unfold. Yep. Yep. I've seen it coming. I've seen it coming. Doesn't
You came a long
surprise
way.
me.
You came a long way in about 10 years. A real long way.
Basically, I've been awake 59 years. I'm 59, close
Mhm.
to 60. But I'm starting to be aware that I was awake. That's happened over the past 10 years. With the big lessons that from 2015 till 2019.
Mhm.
So in 4 years' time.
Right on.
So
Well,
then I met you. And because of you, I met Ellie.
I'm sorry.
What? I'm sorry.
That
You
you
fuck.
met Allie.
And that's when I started to discover what I really am. And I still don't know.
You're doing amazing,
Yeah.
Vera. You are.
You
You
are, and
are.
you've came a long way, and thank you for sharing your awakening story with us. Would anyone else like to go next?
I'll mute.
Jeremiah.
Jeremiah,
Yes,
it's all you, dude.
no. My awakening, it had to do with flute.
Yeah, okay.
And
How long ago was that?
around like 2 years ago,
How long?
2 years ago.
2 years ago. Okay. And so what happened that a flute got involved with your awakening?
Oh, I discovered, like, I discovered TikTok, and I found a creator called West Sitter,
Okay.
and he was performing and selling flutes.
So this creator on TikTok was playing the flute, and he was it the music that captured you, that did
Yeah,
something to you
it was.
spiritually?
Yes, and also,
What changed once you heard that music? What changed within you that all of a sudden you knew things would never be the same? I've awoken because of this. What changed within you when you heard that music?
oh, this is a very hard answer. But
It was just a feeling, something changed vibrationally, do you think? Yeah, I think many of us can understand that. Yeah.
it,
So
it, it
when you play music on the flute, do you play your own original music?
I try to.
Uh-huh. Well, that's awesome. Because Vera's a flute player. It'd be great to hear
Oh,
you two jamming together.
yeah.
Yeah.
Jeremiah's doing really well. I've heard him play. It's good.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well done.
On. Right on.
Good.
Well, yeah. Well, thank you, Jeremiah, for sharing your story, your flute, and your music. We appreciate that. Um, Maybe your mom has some spiritual awakening stories she'd like to tell us in the background there,
Yeah.
where we can only see her head.
Yeah.
There she is.
It's I do. Hey guys,
Okay. What led
Hi.
to your awakening?
good to see everybody. My iPad is kind of on the fritz. Is kind of my nervous system is kind of on the fritz right now. So everybody has his on it. I just kind of came over, um, because oh yeah, and as far as spiritual awakening, I think I've had a lot of them in a lot of different ways.
Mhm.
But it was like I remember when I was a little girl, like 3 years old, it's like I was born awake, like a lot of us were. Like we came in here like a ball of light. I remember I could like bounce on my bed and I would rise up out of my body like a big ball of gold light, you know. And I could see angels and I used to paint them when I was like 3 and 4 years old. I mean, they weren't like intricate paintings or anything like that, but they were kind of good for a 3-year-old, and I
The
could do that.
angels that you painted at that age, did you actually see them?
Yeah,
Uh,
I could yes, and I was asked if I wanted to leave that life. I didn't have to live it, you know, and I was shown who else I could be born to, that they would be a much better life if had I been born to them. But I
Uh-huh.
stayed in this one for some reason. Um, and I went through a lot. You know, you guys might know about it. But no matter what's happened, all those terrible things, um, you know, things that happen, you know, that light is still in there, and it's still connected to the divine light in all of us, and the divine creator. It's still connected there, always, no matter what. And it's been like, there was a period of time where I felt like I was walking around half conscious, you know, for a good number of years, because at you know, close your ears if this freaks you out, because I'm not going to say it a long time, but just to put, you know, say some of the things that I went through is at around my 13th birthday, I was put through what was then known as electroconvulsive treatment, and that was back in the 70s. And it put lesions on my brain here and here, and so it's taken and it did some damage in my spinal cord as well, and my neck and stuff like that. So that's part of the damage in my that needs to be cleared in my nervous system. But it took me many years to clear that and to be able to speak correctly, and I still can't really type that great, you know. But I went through that, um, and because it was, they didn't want me to remember the abusive, mean people, the meanies. They did not want me to remember what they had put me through for so many years, because I had tried to reach out and ask for help. You know, different people had noticed something was off, and you know, because I was, you know, 8, 9, let's see, between like, gosh, all my life up until around 15, I'd say. Anyway, it was pretty terrible, and
Where
but
were your angels at that point? Were they still there? Could you still see them at that point?
it was like, it was a Greg. It was like for most of the time at that period in my life, I felt very shut down.
Hmm.
I felt like a black cloak had been thrown over me. You know that I couldn't get out from under at that time.
I
You know,
wonder if something happened to you that was similar to a friend of mine. She used to have out of body experiences as a young child, 3, 4, 5, 6 years old. She ended up, she thought everybody had them. She'd go and visit her neighbors out of body, and she'd tell them the next day, yeah, you were watching this TV show, and she was eating a sandwich while you were watching this particular show. And they're like, how did you know? She said, I was right here. She didn't understand that. They didn't understand, her
yeah,
neighbors. But she ended up telling her friends at school. They ridiculed her, and she ended up suppressing that ability. So I'm wondering if something similar happened to you at a young age, where you innocently were seeing angels and you had this connection to the divine, and then you may have told some people, and then all of a sudden they're laughing at you and with their little peanut-sized brains, and then all of a sudden you suppress that ability.
yeah.
So when did that happen?
You're right. They did a lot to try to shut me down,
Hmm.
but they couldn't do it because I kept, deep down, I'm a rebel. I have like this rebellious streak a mile wide. It doesn't show, but it's in
Yeah.
there. And
Oh yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
and
I
there's a
believe
lot
it.
of,
Yeah.
you know, good people though that reached out to me, that like sparked that flame, that light in me to come back to life again. You know, after everything, gosh, I went through so many terrible things, but I also went through many, many beautiful, amazing experiences that let me know that this life is only like a drop. and that a lot of these terrible things are, not all of them are what they say karmic. A lot of them are like, kind of unnecessary. Like, some of it is like unnecessary, like, wow, it really wasn't supposed to be like that bad, you know? Um, so, because of free will and things like that, but anyway, that was my awakening. And um,
Well,
around
wait, 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 time out. So you had this like dark period there. And then how did you come out of that?
I was just so determined. For a long time, I thought that there was something wrong with me, right? But there wasn't. It was the things that other people had done to me that was wrong. So I think a little bit of it was karmic, but I don't believe that any child, deserves to go through what I went through. I don't think that's all karma. I think that's, the meanies trying to suck the loosh out of people. I'm sorry. I don't know how else to say it. You know, they're just trying to, harm people and basically just steal their energy, really.
So
Enhancing
what
your
got
pain.
yeah.
But
So what got you back as, as you matured and all of a sudden you're realizing, hey, I need to get back on this spiritual path.
I I um I met a shaman, and for some reason, he and I really connected, and he worked with me for like, gosh, like 5 years or so. I think maybe between 5 and I don't know how many years it was until he passed. But that was in 2010, and that's when I really started to fight, and I really started to see truth about things and connect the dots. My memory began to come back, the bits and pieces. I'd remember a lot, but it wasn't connected,
Hmm.
Um, and then in 2012, I found in 5D, and I met yourself and Greg, and thanks to you, I met a lot of really good people, and um, it's just been very, very spiritual. It's reached so many people, myself included, that made us feel protected, like a safe container to, like, wow, it's safe to be gifted. It's safe to, work with herbs and crystals and all that good
Yeah.
stuff. And
You can be you and
yes,
no ridicule. No, everyone here is family, you know?
yeah. I
So
remember I was shaking because in 2021 I was scared to get on Zoom and go in 5D spirit chat, but my guides were like pushing me really hard.
do it.
And I went, and then in the second one I went, I saw Allie, and I saw this big gold light lady go by, and I was like, wait, who's this woman's? They belong together. And it was like, oh, and then we went from there. You and Greg belong together. It's like Allie and Greg belong together.
Oh,
Yeah, I'll never forget it. And then I gradually got over my fear of being on Zoom or going out, even appearing or showing my face on Zoom. I was scared to bits to do that, but now I don't think about it. I don't, it doesn't, I'm not afraid of it.
Ellie got you used to it because, she has her monthly meetings and chats and stuff, and as I
And
do
in
too,
class,
and yeah, and classes and everything. The more you're on situations like this, the easier it is. You don't think about if this video is going to end up getting several thousand viewers or whatever. It's just us right now. It's just our family here
and
right now.
and becoming more and more yourself takes
Yeah,
away feeling of shyness, guilt. Oh no, I'm scared. Because I
yeah,
was shaking your hand because I was scared too.
uh-huh. Yeah. We all were initially. It took me like
Was
3 years to actually put my face on a video. I would do voiceovers for my first, 3 years of videos from like 2008 to 2011. And then eventually I put my face on the video because I was told by this one dude, you have to, because we all have codes that we give each other. And while the voice gives codes, our looks also give codes. Each one of us are giving codes to people. So that's
I,
why it was important for us to do
I was even afraid to record my own voice, Greg.
that.
Scared of that myself. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's awesome. Well, thank you for sharing that.
Thanks for asking, letting me be a part of this. Yeah.
Our pleasure. Who would like to go next? What led to your spiritual awakening? And I want to say hi to Chris and Bella and Lois.
Hello.
All right. Melissa has her hand up. She's like, yeah, I'm ready.
I'll go.
I knew I
Yeah.
could always count on you.
Yeah, I'm not too shy.
No.
It's just interesting everyone's stories. And Allie and I were talking about this last time we talked, that people's stories have always fascinated me, even as a young child. And I feel like I was always aware. Okay, so I just knew things. I felt like I was, how do I say it? Maybe even tired as a child, like tired of certain things. Like I didn't understand why you had to do so many things. Like a lot of things in school didn't make sense to me. College didn't make sense to me. Like you have to do these classes and that's not what you're going to school for, and a lot of that stuff. So entrepreneurial things interest me. So I pursued that in business, in my early career life. And then I also became a hairdresser because I didn't want to be stuck in an office my whole life. Like I remember working, you know, my first job, one of my first jobs was working in the medical field because my uncle was a doctor. So I was, working as a radiology assistant, like getting x-rays and coding and all that. And I would go out, like I grew up in Massachusetts, so the water was right across the street. So I would just take my little lunch and walk over to the ocean side of the road and just have a little lunch there. And I thought, this is not what I'm doing for the rest of my life. I'm good at it, I catch on really quick, but I'm not doing this. So
Something within your soul was telling you this
yeah,
is not my life path.
yeah, yeah. So
Right.
but I always knew things, like I knew things about people, and then people would always tell me things. Like I was just a young girl, and like friends of the family would just tell me everything, like about their lives, and somehow I would know exactly what to tell them and exactly what to say, and then they would just be done, and I'd be like, "Oh, that was odd," like why did they just tell me all of that? I'm like 12 years old. But so when people ask, like when I started reading for people, I just say, like, I always read for people, I just wasn't aware. And I had all the clairs. I saw my first angel when I was probably about 9. We had a really big game room in our house. There was a pool table in there, and there was like a little hallway, and down the end of the hallway was that room. And I looked down the hallway, and there was this giant angel just floating across, the door. And I'm looking, and I'm like, okay. So I'm just watching it float across. And as he floated across, he kept looking at me like this. He turned his head, and I'm like, so I'm just standing there watching, like, oh my gosh. So after he got out of view, like I went down, a little hallway and went in the room, and he was still in there, and he just kind of floated out and out through the wall, and I didn't see him again. But that was the first time I saw like a full blown angel, and it was Archangel Gabriel is who
Did
it
he say
was.
anything? Did he communicate like telepathically at all, or
It was weird, but it wasn't. It was like I knew him, like, but I was in shock to see him in the physical world, like in my space. So you know what I mean?
it'd be funny
So
if he just even if he just said something like just passing through, Melissa.
I just felt like
See you
there
later.
again. I just felt like I knew him, like it was weird to see him in the physical reality, but yet it was not weird to see an angel. So
And
But
you were
my
about
whole
9 years old when that happened.
yeah, like 8 or 9.
Yeah.
So I was always uh, I don't know. I felt different. Like I just knew things and nothing made sense to me. Like I remember going to school and they told us there was nothing out in the universe. We were the only things alive in the universe. And I came home and I said to my mom, do you believe this? Is this true? Like this is I don't believe it, you know? And again, I was in elementary school, you know? So things weren't even adding up back then. Like I was like, this just doesn't make sense, you know? And then religious things like that, what I was brought up Catholic and the things that they taught there, I would come home and I would be like, why would an infant child go to limbo when they're the purest, most beautiful thing on the planet? Like children are the most beautiful things on the planet. So I didn't buy that. And then I didn't understand the middleman. Like you had to tell somebody else something you did when I could talk to God myself, right? So all of this stuff. But a funny story, I was probably like 6 or 7. And I was on the school bus with my best friend. And I always had a little voice, you know, like that guiding voice, that loving voice. And I said, oh my God, like I have to ask somebody if they hear this voice. So I asked my best friend. She was sitting next to me on the bus, and I said to her, I said, do you hear that little voice in your head? And she stopped and she looked at me and she was like, no. She called me Missy. Everybody called me Missy when I was a kid. She goes, no, Missy, what do you mean? And I was like, uh-oh, I'm weird. Never bringing that up again, you know? So yeah, a lot of things when I was younger, and then my animals, like just talking to the animals, and I knew they understood me and I understood them, but there was nobody there to tell me I was an animal communicator. So with the horses, I tested my theory. I was like probably 13 and it kept happening. And I'm like, oh, wait, there's really like, I know I feel connected. And so I would think of my whole route when I would ride. And one day I just changed the route in the horse. Like I just, instead of going right, like I had been thinking, I'm like, no, I'm going to go left. And the horse, I could hear the horse say to me, what do you mean? We're going that way. And I'm like, we're going this way, you know? And so that was when I knew I was really talking to the horse, and the horse was reading my thoughts, and I was connected in that way to the horse in a very deep and spiritual way that yeah, it was normal for me, you know? So,
Wouldn't
yeah.
it be great though if, when you're at that school age, 5, 6, 7 years old, instead of taking all those traditional school topics, wouldn't it be great if they just asked you, what interests you? What
Yeah.
do you like doing? Because I
Yeah.
mean, you could mention, that you saw the angels and,
Mhm.
you're able to communicate with animals and, maybe you could tie them in together in some kind of life path at a young age.
Yes. I
Wouldn't it
always say,
be?
like, what would my life have been like if I'd have just known that, you know, that could have been my life path. That could have been what I could have done from a very early age, you know? Yeah. Yeah.
But do you think that you had to learn all those lessons in between for other
Yeah.
reasons?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yep. Yep. It's
And would
divine
you have
timing
learned all those?
always.
Would you have learned those lessons and grown so much spiritually from those lessons had you not had them?
I wouldn't be the same person I am now. I had to have a lot more experiences, I think, in order for me to do what I'm called to do now. Because if I didn't have all of those other life experiences, then I wouldn't be able to help other people as much as I can, because I've experienced so many different things in so many different places that I can identify and relate to like basically anybody because I've had a lot of things happen to me in my life. So, yeah, yeah.
And as we've gotten along on our spiritual paths, we can
Mm.
weigh and discern and compare where we were and where we've came and where we're going. And we've all of us, everyone watching, if you're watching this live or even on the recorded version, your chances are you're awake and you came so far from where you were maybe 5, 10, 15, 20 years ago or more. And I say congratulations to each one of you.
Yeah, yeah, yep.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's the spiritual awakening process never ends. So
Yeah.
if people think that they're spiritually awake, but yeah, you are. But buckle up, Buttercup. Like we always say, you're gonna keep learning every single day. Your guides, your angels, God, the universe, whatever words resonate for you, they're always going to be leading you and teaching you. And the more you open up to that, the more it unfolds.
I had to laugh because I made a video recently and I couldn't say butter up buckle cup, and I had the hardest time spitting that out. I was saying buckle up buttercup. Oh no, yes. I don't know.
It's
Weird
fun.
thing. Yeah. Anyway, thank you for sharing, Melissa.
Welcome. Thank you for allowing me to.
My pleasure.
Mhm.
So we have Chris, Allie, Bella, Lois, who would like to share their story on what led them to their spiritual awakening. Don't be shy. Allie's shaking her head. Chris is just smiling. Amy's got her lips.
I was shy. Still am.
And Lois, you guys can't see her on YouTube, but she's here. Her microphone's off. Anyone?
I
Come
don't
on.
really have a really good story to tell. It's just I've always been who I am, and I've never fit in anywhere. And I never saw angels. I always knew they were there, though. Don't ask me how I know. I just knew. No, even as a little kid. But my mother always told me that babies, if they weren't baptized immediately, that if they died between the time that they were born and they weren't baptized, they would go to hell. And I just, I couldn't really disagree with her because I had a alcoholic father that screamed all the time. So, you didn't really speak your mind. But it just didn't make any sense to me. All the religion didn't make any sense to me. And just, I don't know, I've just always been different and always believed different. All of my friends believe that if you don't believe that Jesus Christ died on that cross, by golly, you're going to go to hell. I mean, I live in this Bible Belt, and I was raised in a small community and moved to a small community, and they just all believe in that. When I tell them I believe in reincarnation or something, they just go, "Oh, Chris," and they roll their eyes, just make fun of me, and I just don't. It doesn't bother me anymore.
Yeah, 150 years ago, they would have burned you at the stake for saying that.
Probably was.
I think many of us were.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure I've had a lot of psychics tell me that I was a witch. Even my own son told me that he was my father at one time, and I had done black magic, and he had to watch me die
Oh,
because
wow.
I was really bad. But I'm not bad now.
Well, we've all been the best of the best and the worst of the worst in our
I've
previous
learned my
lives.
lesson somewhere along the line, but
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
So
I'm
it's okay. Well, thank you for sharing. So Ellie, you're next because Bella and Lois aren't up.
Okay. I was trying to wait because my back's killing me. Bella, you go next.
Okay. Well, first I'd just like to say hello to Mr. and Mrs.
Ah, thank you.
and Reverend and Raven Wolf. Nice to see your faces. I think I was born awake, and I've had many periods over my lifetime where I'm awake and I go back to sleep, and I'm awake and I go back to sleep. There are things that have happened along my lifetime in childhood, in teenage, in 20s, 30s. I'll start waking up and something shuts me down. And it gets harder to wake up each and every time. I'm not sure whether or not I'm the one that does things that shuts me down, or the outside world influences me and I shut down. I think it was really brave of Miss Arnold to say that she did not want to be seen. I am one of those. I show up, I lurk in the background, and I'm afraid. I think I'm afraid to be seen especially by people who are awake, because they can see things that others cannot. And I don't want them to see my attachments. I don't want them to see that my aura hugs my body so hard that it's almost like a shell, like a coating that it's hard to break through. Along the times that I have been awake, I have helped others awaken. But there are things that happen, and like right now, in my life, things are happening at a really rapid rate. It seems as though when my life crashes, it's not in one area, and it makes me sad. It's multiple areas that would take somebody to nearly death spiral. And right now I'm going through one of those, but they can't take me down. But I don't know, my aura hugs hard to the point where I'm not really sure whether or not I can shake it off very easily anymore. It's almost like the older I get, the harder it is to shake it off.
You said that you're awake and then you go back to sleep. Do you think, and then wake and back to sleep again? Do you think that when you go back to sleep that there's still some life lessons maybe, or some karma that's trying to get worked out when that happens?
I'm wondering whether or not I'm here to work out multiple lifetimes of karma.
Yeah.
With as much battering that comes at me. It's like I heal from the traumas that I've gone through, and then I wake up and I'm okay. And then it's like the universe says, listen, we got to help you through this next one, but you're not going to like it. And then all of this stuff, it's like dump truck loads. And it just unleashes itself. And so I guess it's just harder to come back sometimes. Is that what you meant?
That's a good answer. Yeah. Yeah. Well, you know, growing up, your mom was awoken, awaked, however you want to say that. Yeah, she read tarot every day, right?
Yeah. Yep. My mother was a tarot reader.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And she helped a lot of people through, but she was going through stuff too, that I'm not really sure belonged just to her in this life anyway. I'm thinking that there are several women in my family. It seems to come in with women in my family. I think that my mother and I are releasing generational trauma from God only knows where. It feels far back, because sometimes I don't understand the lessons, and like the universe does, it'll show up in a different way. So you can clear that energy or fix that trauma, or work your way through it and make peace with it so it can leave.
Well,
May,
I think that's
may I
part of-
say
Go ahead.
what it is with me? I've also those moments that I'm feeling really low, but I've changed it from that I'm being suppressed to they're preparing me for something bigger.
Oh dear God. If I'm being prepared for something bigger, I'm not sure if I'm gonna be able to, well, maybe.
And I do have a feeling that some of us are not supposed to shine yet, but it will shine. We will shine the moment where we've all been working through the traumas, that you literally can see someone and is willing to help, that we can say, this is how I can guide you. Because they got to do the work, but we can guide them because we've been through it and they just starting. And I got a feeling that that is partially with you too.
That could be.
Mhm.
That could be.
When I was talking about my awakening earlier, I mentioned that I went to pick my daughter up at my ex's house. This is my ex, Bella. She's the one that introduced me to The Secret. on that.
I'm ex Mrs. Prescott #1.
Yeah.
Very lovely to meet you, even
Yeah.
though we've met.
Lovely to meet you too. I love Allie. You're
Allie's the third and
fantastic.
final Mrs. Prescott.
Aw.
Yeah,
Well, they say, you know what they say, third time's a charm, and they save the best for last.
that's right.
Aw.
But you introduced me to The Secret, well, the trailer to it, and that just blew my mind. I appreciate
Yeah.
that. That helped a lot on my awakening to getting me back to where I needed to be.
And without you guys, it wouldn't be for Brittany, would it? Beautiful Brittany.
No?
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
My little pumpkin
She's
seed.
she's wonderful. Oh, I'm sorry you're going through that though.
It's challenging sometimes.
Yeah.
Specifically what's happening right now. This is a new one. It's never happened to me. I got hacked through my email, and what they wanted was Bitcoin. And from within my email, they sent me this horrible letter that said that they were gonna spread naked pictures of me all over the internet. They infiltrated my Facebook, which I lost. I cannot get it back. That was an account that was from 2006.
Wow.
Oh
They
my-
infiltrated my Instagram, my Twitter. I mean, my whole life crashed. Like everything digital crashed all at the same time for this person that infiltrated me from inside my house, like inside my email. It was like an inside job. And I really, those words just felt so right when I said that. I was like, this is an inside job.
Oh my God.
Like almost as if somebody I know did this to me.
Oh my God.
I'm not really sure, but
Who has
I
your
don't,
password?
I was an admin for several websites that I absolutely loved. They were at this point in my life's work. And
You didn't by chance use the same password for multiple different.
None of my stuff had the same passwords, but from inside my email, they wrote me a letter that contained my password.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Google, they say it's really handy. Do you know what I mean? For me, because I forget my passwords all the time. But they save all your passwords, don't they? And you can actually click into it and get the whole list of everything.
Yep.
All your passwords are all there.
Yeah.
Yep. I have no idea who
shocked
this
by that.
person was, but there are also times when I wonder whether or not, because I talk to God a lot. I am very spiritual. That is where my life began, was in the church. My mother and grandmother were very active in the church, and my faith is unwavering. And sometimes I wonder if it's almost as if when my life crashes, he knows and sticks closer to me. He knew that this was coming. I didn't know that this was coming. So I was trying to fix at least the email problem. And I was going to town, and I was getting off the exit number 13 on the 13th. Kind of odd the way that happened. And I ended up behind a white van, and the white van, on the back of it, it was a company van, and it said Kingdom Builders. And I started to cry, because the last line is the kingdom, the power, the glory. That's the last line of the prayer. And that was exactly what popped into my head. I didn't see the little letters underneath it. I wasn't close enough to read it. But when we came to a stoplight, it said, serving God by serving others. And I thought, oh my God, you're right in front of me.
So that was your sign that it's going to be okay.
It was my sign that no matter what happens, I'm going to be okay.
Yeah.
He's my kingdom builder. What am I going to do?
Right.
I don't have control over it anyway. And he's the only one I'll relinquish it to. So let go, let God.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Allie?
um rocking. Just very briefly, it was I joined my mum. I wasn't understanding my spiritual pathway at all until my mum said, why don't you come to my circle, which was in a spiritualist church in Canterbury. And I thought, oh God, this is going to be a laugh, isn't it? That's what I thought, people are going to be, crazy. That's what I thought. Most people do think we guys are crazy, but they're the ones that are crazy. They're not following the spiritual path, really. That's what I know now. And so when I got to this, we were doing meditation, and when we was doing meditation, I felt as if I was going to fall back off my chair. So of course I jerked awake, and of course I waited for everybody to come back. That was the first time, and the guy that was running it said, said, you came back early. And I said, yeah, because I was going to fall off my chair. And he said, the legs of the chair didn't move. And he said, I want you next time to go with it. So the next week went there, I went with it, and I felt like a pop and release, and I was floating around. It was right near Canterbury Cathedral. And so I could tell what people were wearing, what was going on, all of that. And then I came back. And since that time, he was pushing me to do mediumship, like stand up and give an address and stand up and do this. And I was like, I don't want to. I didn't want to do that. I don't like being pushed like that. So I left basically. And so I think I then just went it alone. I went it alone, and it still catches up with you, if you're supposed to do it, it just happens. But yeah.
How old were you?
Well, 18 maybe.
Your mom is really cool. Hi, Patricia.
Hi, Mama. She'll be watching this.
Yeah. Yeah, she's really cool.
She is, bless her. She's my best friend.
It was your mom that got you onto that spiritual path.
Yeah. And then I taught myself tarot, and then I taught her tarot, and then we went out, did pub events. When I first said I was going to take tarot readings into pubs, people going, you can't do that, you can't take it into pubs. And I said, I'm going to take it to the people that would never get a reading. And so you can't take it into every pub. Yes, there's some pubs it's like, there was one pub I went to, and I was with this lovely lady who's now in the spirit world called Susie Pollard. Bless her heart. She was, my dad and her was brought up together, and my mum knew her. So anyway, we were there with a couple of other readers, and we were sitting there, and there was a row and an argument going on with a couple of lads. People were booking in, they put all their names down. It was a very busy event. It was opposite the barracks, so I think it was a couple of soldiers. Anyway, next thing we heard was smashed window, and one of them had been thrown out of the window.
Oh my God.
And I said, I was feeling protective of the people, obviously, of the readers and stuff. So I think we better pack up and go home, give the money back to everybody, and let's just go. And Susie said, no, Ali, we're here. We're here for a purpose. We're here to help, and that's that. And so we carried on. But we've had some events, but most pubs are lovely.
I've been to a few with you.
Yeah.
For events. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Mary, she always asks after you, bless her, for 5 bells.
my parents aren't, you're so lucky to have a mom like that. My parents are Christians, they're Methodists, they love their spirituality in that aspect, but they're not really metaphysical, except when my sister was donating her kidney. When my mom was donating her kidney to my sister Lola, they were both in hospital beds right next to each other. And my mom, in the evening or at night, she's laying in bed, and she had this apparition come up and tell her that everything was going to be okay.
Oh.
And my dad, he gets visited by these 3 men in suits, business suits, in his dreams. They visit him on occasion. So it's not like once, twice, three times. It's like on occasion. Could have been, 40, 50 times in his dreams. So they have that metaphysical aspect of them, but they would never come out and tell their friends about it. They've talked to me about it. And I appreciate them opening up like that.
Oh. Your volume's low. Is it just me that is Greg's volume low to anybody else? No? It's weird.
I can
you
still
sound
hear
fine.
him, but
I can
I
definitely
know
hear
I
it.
know I
There we
know
go.
that's it.
That's
You
better.
just sound quiet because you're leaning back.
Yeah,
Ah,
I'm quite a ways from my computer.
no, that's better. That's much
Yeah.
better.
I
Is that
adjusted
that-
the volume.
Giant white microphone.
It looks like
No.
a penis.
No, I'm not using that. No. So we have Lois here. Would you like to join in, Lois, and tell us about what led to your spiritual awakening?
Hi, Lois.
Saw her pop in earlier. Don't know if she's with us now. And somebody called Nars. Hi, Nars.
I read for lovely Lois. I think it was about a week ago, maybe 2 weeks ago. She was a lovely lady, very ready for spiritual meetings of people. So that's what I know of Lois. Bless her. She was just a really lovely lady, genuine.
In the chat, we have Debbie Hempele and Val. Von Craig is there. I see Vera popped in there as well. And Wendy Robert from Massachusetts, and Lydia
And
joined us.
he
in
got some more subscribers.
Yeah,
141 now.
oh, wonderful. 141 subscribers. That's amazing. I'm so
Yeah.
great.
It's such a short notice.
Yeah, well,
So
thank you everyone who has subscribed. If you're watching this for the first time and enjoy the chat, please subscribe. Got new videos coming out, 2 new videos. One's coming out in about 15 minutes here on Zentasia. And I got a new one coming out after that, probably next week, about hippie slang words that were used in the 60s that we still use today. So cool stuff.
I love
Anyway,
it.
yeah, that's it. Is there anything anyone would like to wrap up on? We made it through our first hour.
Oh, it was lovely. Good vibes. I
Yeah.
was in pain at the beginning, so I was kind of sitting back a little bit, but yeah, you guys are wonderful. I love you.
There's
lot.
there's somebody in here that's working energy. I can feel it.
Healing.
And she just ratted herself out by that smile. I saw it.
Yes.
I knew it. I knew who it was.
I'm just automatic. I think I'm always running energy, it's just automatic. Don't even think about it sometimes.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think it was
If
more than
somebody's
one
open,
person.
they get it, right? They receive it. Yeah.
So sometimes
There's
I
really
do
some Vera.
say it. Most times I don't even say it. I just send it.
Yeah.
I think collectively,
And-
when we work together on that, it works so much better. In my best when I'm awake. I'm also an energy healer, and I was born with that. I didn't need to be near someone. I didn't need to touch someone. Migraines, muscle sprains, bruises. It was natural. And the older I get, I was told by a Reiki master that I get in my own way a lot.
You're the one. You're the one that taught me. You're the one that taught me quantum touch healing on Apollo Beach.
Yeah. Yeah.
I used to be the one that walked away with it. When someone had a headache and I got home and it took me days to get rid of the headache.
Yeah.
Thankfully, last year I got initiated to Reiki Master. And I can walk around now without it getting into my system. And there's one thing, and that's last weekend, because for those that don't know, I have a new doggy, a new Bernese Mountain dog that has been through a lot at his young age. And he does not want to be healed with Reiki. Fear. Ain't that crazy? But last week or last weekend, he was all over the place. I started to stroke him, calm him down, and all of a sudden I started, out of nowhere, started talking. It's okay that you go back to where you were, how you were with your doggy mama and your siblings, and now you're going to a field, and in that field there's healing. You get a bubble around you, and it's okay to walk through. I forgot one thing, that he's allowed to walk through his whole life from when he was still with his mommy till his actual age within himself. He actually acted out every step, even his fear. He had a complete breakdown last Monday. I had a breakdown because I thought I was not getting through to him. I cried because what he's been through, he's been abused, hit at the head. He cannot even yawn yet fully. So his jaw has, but I'm teaching him that he can still, and it's getting wider. So he and I cried. And now, this morning, yesterday morning, he got on the bed next to me and he slept next to me for the first time in 10.5 weeks. Last night, he went on the couch next to me. For the first time, he slept on my lap, partially on my lap, on the couch, for the first time in 10.5 weeks.
Oh, bless him. Bless him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
he feels safe.
and I felt when I gave him that healing journey that he went deep. We both went deep. I literally heard every word I had to say. An experience, and I'm still getting chills. I've never had that experience before. Literally every word. And then I just gave him time, waited till he woke up 2.5 hours later, because he needed to go out. Well, I know he didn't drink any alcohol.
Maybe you did.
No, I don't even have it in the house. But he was literally like walking around. So he's finally at the phase of learning.
And accepting healing.
Yeah.
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 Like the
Yeah.
energy he carried was so heavy, he didn't know what to do when it left him.
Mm.
Nope. And it's still baby steps because this is only one layer of him. And a dog has many energy layers. So, and he's already starting to act up a little, so the next layer is coming.
Isn't it beautiful how they teach us and we teach them in this symbiotic relationship?
I have to be really careful with him because this I have with walking. Some sows walk, and I clearly don't give it that I have a dog with me with all the bells, everything. They can see it. He needs space, and they pass by with about this much space with a dog that lunges, barking. So I was a little bit annoyed, and that's when I have to be careful because he cannot handle that yet.
He needs his space, does he?
He needs a space, but also because I got annoyed with those people, he gets scared to get in the car, scared and I leave him in the car. So he just wants to bolt But that's his fear. He learned that he was on top of it when he bolted. But it takes time.
Mm-hmm.
So he's the first dog that I do my own healing with. With Benji, I had help. Now I'm doing it myself.
This could be another spirit chat, animal communication and healing, right? So why don't we wrap up there, and we'll put that on the list of potential topics we can talk about here on Spirit Chat on Zentasia. I want to thank everyone for joining us here tonight on Zentasia. Join us every Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific, and midnight UK, or 1 a.m. if you're in Vera's land
In the
of the lost.
Netherlands. In the Netherlands.
Yes. So yeah, I want to thank everyone. Much love to everyone. Thank you for joining us. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe, and stay tuned for new videos coming up on Zentasia as well as in5d.com. So take care, everyone. Love you. Much love to everyone from my heart to yours. Love you all.
And thank you,
Thank you.
darling, for
Thank
organising.
you.
Thank you.
Very
Thank you.
welcome. So
You're
blessed that you all joined me. Thank you.
For having us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night,
Bye.
everyone.